the first film that changed your perspective on something?
Yes. So there are a lot of really good answers to this question.
Good.
I'm going to answer it very personally because there are many documentaries that I've seen, like 13th, The People versus O.J. Simpson, like there are so many, oh my God, Deliver Us from Evil, like there's How to Survive a Plague, like a lot of documentaries have like blown my fucking mind open. But there's one scene in Miss Congeniality.
So good. Such a good answer.
There's one scene in Miss Congeniality, and it's when Miss New York doesn't make the finalists. And when her name isn't called, she runs up and she goes, I just want all those lesbians to know out there that if I can make it to the top 10, so can you. Tina, I love you. And they're like grabbing her and trying to pull her off the stage. And she's just like, Tina, I love you. And then this girl stands up in the audience and she's like holding a heart that says, I love New York. And she goes, I love you, Karen. And I was like, it changed my life. I was just like, I'd never seen lesbians before. Like, I really had never... I think people don't, when they think of representation, they're kind of like, well, yeah, we made these movies about gay people dying, and we made it about, like, gay people being tied to trees and murdered, and we made it about, like, you know, like, blah, blah. But what you forget is that, like, sometimes it's a comedy, or a romantic comedy, or, you know, something like that is a kid's or teenagers' first experience with seeing representation. And that film, and also Kevin Kline kissing a man in In and Out, but those were, that film was like, I literally never seen a lesbian on screen before. I wasn't allowed to watch TV, so I didn't know about Ellen, which was my wife's experience of like seeing this person being like, oh my God, that's me, you know. But when she came out and said, when she said, like, I just want all the, literally it never been mentioned, no one knew she was a lesbian, nothing in the film had, like, prepared us for this moment, and she came up and she was like, and she was like, I just want all those lesbians out there to know, and I was like, I was like, I don't know, I just had these, like, tingly feelings of, like, this makes me so happy.
Very personal question. So did you think you were gay before this moment, or you didn't know? You didn't know it was an option? I didn't know it was an option. I mean, like, you know, you were like, oh! The only time I'd ever heard about gay people was in church and about how bad it was. That was really all, and I thought, oh yeah, that's not me. Like, you know, like, I'm not gonna go to hell, so yeah, cool, we're good. We're good, we're totally good. It doesn't matter that I'm watching, like, Batman Returns on repeat. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, getting fucking into it. You know, like, doing a very deep dive into Michelle Pfeiffer. But, like, you know, it just didn't occur to me. But when I saw that, it was, you know, it's a movie that I think was, like, 2003 or something. It was very, like, you know, I must have seen them probably, like, in, you know, like, Boys Don't Cry. Like, I think I'd seen Boys Don't Cry. Like, I'd seen, like, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, it better not be gay, you know, because, like, you know, I'm definitely not going to get shot and gang raped by people. So, like, you know, like, it wasn't until I saw, I think it was 2003, like, I was in college watching the film, and I was like, oh, my God. Oh, like, oh, there's, like, happy lesbians that are out there, like, just living their lives, and, like, there isn't, like, a big problem. You know, and it's funny because they're, like, dragging her off the stage, and they're like, oh my God, got this, got the, you know, like, and they play it for laughs, but, like, it definitely was, like, oh, like, I mean, and I was, like, you know, in my mid-20s, like, you know, 22, 23, but I had been raised so religiously, and, you know, it was just a different time, you know, like, in the mid-90s, like, you know, the LBGT, like, you know, club at my school was, like, considered lame. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, like, it was like, oh, those fucking, you know, like, and even with, like, cool, chill friends, like, it was still, like, you know, weird, and, like, I had this weird thing with a friend of mine in high school, and, like, where, you know, it just, to me, it felt like something that was not, it wasn't, and I've always said this too, it's like, I didn't really understand what was going on with me for the longest time because it just wasn't an option. Wow. Like, it just wasn't an option. Like, it was just like, I don't want to get murdered and I don't want to go to hell. So, like, why would I even entertain this even though I'm hooking up with women, even though I'm making out with women, it's like, I'm just not thinking of myself as gay. Like, I'm just like, oh, that's just a thing that I'm doing, you know? Like, it's just this thing that I'm doing, you know? Like, it's not, but when I saw that scene, I was like, oh, I guess you could just be a lesbian in the world. Like, and you would be a person, and you people would treat you like a person, and then whenever you felt like talking about it, you would. You know, it's
like,
that's
so
great.
That's like my. I mean, of course, there's so much cooler versions of it.
No, but that's so good. I wish they knew the makers of that film.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys now.
That changed your life.
It did. It really did.
That's fantastic.
It was anyway. Yeah.
So your wife. I'm just fascinated by it. It's so great. It's such a lovely story. Thank you, Miss Congeniality.
Thank you, Miss Congeniality.
Is this why, may I ask, this is maybe too personal, is this why you are not religious? I'm assuming you're not religious anymore.
No, I'm not religious, no.
Did it change after Miss Congeniality?
Yeah, no, I think...
You're like, I'm gay and I don't...
No. I started, when I got to college, I basically, everything went out the window because I developed like a pretty intense substance abuse and alcohol problem. Okay. And so everything kind of, I went from being like this kind of good girl and like having done everything that my parents wanted me to and getting into NYU and like kind of being the, the big sister, the eldest who like got everything done. It's like as soon as I got to NYU and started being able to use and drink the way that I wanted to, it's like that whole experience, like it haunted me a little bit, and I definitely like a lot of it stuck with me for a long time in the sense that like, I would sleep with women or hook up with women but not date them, like not go out on dates with them, or they would be straight women who are like, I'm not interested. It's like, I'm just like fucking.
You'd be like, no, me neither.
Like, I know, me neither. I mean, it sounds super cool. I mean, it's really super chill. Yeah. But that was where I kind of left that stuff. I would say is like in my 20s. I kind of was like,
so you just running through the streets of NYU going, fuck radio days.
Fuck radio days. Fuck Woody Allen. Fuck you.
Yeah.
We had a rough patch there with my parents. I'm on better terms with them now, but they are still very religious. Like I come from a family that's pretty church going and would identify as Christian, and like when I go home they're like, and let us pray, like right before dinner and stuff, and I'm always like,
they okay with
I'm just gonna sit here. Are they okay with it? Yes. I think they're okay with it after a long time.
Okay.
They all came to my wedding, which was which is good.
Yeah.
But I think I would have been fine even if they didn't. Right. I mean, I worked very hard. There's this beautiful thing in the Birdcage where I love that film too. That was also a film, gay characters, kind of for kind of like, and also a film that Mike Nichols film, also a film that my parents watched and kind of like were okay with. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, maybe they are okay with gay people. But there's that great line where I mean, he ends up going back on it, but like where Robin Williams tells his son, like, I worked so hard to get here. You know what I mean? Like, I can't go back. And that's totally, I'm so happy to say, like, as a queer person, like, that I've gotten to that point. Like, I've worked so hard to make peace with who I am and not even make peace, but just be comfortable in my own skin. That, like, the idea of letting anyone make me feel uncomfortable, including parents or, family members that I love, is just, like, not acceptable. Like, it's just, like, that's not gonna happen. I care about little Leslye, like, little Russian doll Leslye. I care about her more than your fucking assholes.
Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck.
I love it.
Yes.
What? That's such a good answer. Thank